But I do bear. And
Oh, really?
Yeah.
the venue for the activity and said, oh, there is this activity happening today. It was supposed to start at 12, but I suppose it's something that is happening later.
But you went to the breakfast this morning.
I went to her breakfast, and it really was a wonderful opportunity. I was at Cabo's place. It is always a pleasure.
Tell the people what you had to eat.
Well, this is the first time I am having what you call fungi.
Fungi, yes.
So I had fungi with fish. I only do seafood. I don't eat meat. I heard that he does the best goat water on the island. Unfortunately, I was unable to indulge, but what he prepared for me and served me with was excellent. But apart from just the food, just getting an opportunity to interact with the people, that was really a wonderful experience. He shared with me his own political history, which is very interesting because, as we know, in a small community and a small society, we will always have people with varying views, different ideas.
Yes.
And when you are for the people and you work with the people, the intention really is to ensure that you can reach across the aisle, that you can inspire people who do not necessarily see things the same way with you, so that they can be part of the journey towards progress and development. So I was really pleased that I was able to meet someone, because Dr. Hodges' sit is a special one because of the political history and how in a short space of time she was able to overturn that seat. And obviously she would have not been able to do that without people like him. And
That's
to
true.
hear from him and for him to share his own ideas and his experience, I think it possibly has been the highlight of my visit so far.
Well, I'm telling you, he will be pleased with that analysis.
Yes.
And already we're on Facebook Live, and persons are saying, my God, she sounds brilliant. She is beautiful.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
She is wearing the right color top.
Agreed.
I mean, what else did they expect?
What else?
What else
Get
did
with
they
the program.
expect?
You get with the program.
Certainly. I thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you for your wonderful comments as well. I look forward to seeing you at the convention tomorrow. It is my intention to share. And like I said, it's also a learning experience for me as well. Because in politics, I tell people, you may not want to believe it, but we are not much different in the other islands. And the skills that are necessary, the people skills, the communication skills, being empathetic, being able to share ideas, being able to learn from the people you are seeking to represent, it really is a skill that does not limit you to one space and to one jurisdiction. So I'm certain as well that there are things and ideas that I will learn from my interaction here in Nevis that I can take back to St. Lucia to share with my party, and so that we are able to work towards that dream of really representing people and creating a better nation for the people.
Could you share with the rest of us, and especially for our candidates and so, the importance of connecting with people one-on-one in the communities?
Well, politics really is about the people. And if that's not why you are there, you might as well just shut the door. If you do not love people, you do not belong in politics. If you do not have time for the people, you do not belong in politics. And what I have learned as I have seen the transformation and the introduction of the technology and the modernization of how we do certain things, what I've learned is that nothing replaces your groundwork. You have to press the flesh. You have to feel people. You have to meet people. And I know for a lot of young people like me, those of us who like technology, those of us who are on the social media, we feel that we can sit behind the phone and make a post, and that is it. But really, social media is supposed to enhance. If you're doing nothing, there is nothing to show. And so you are supposed to be on the ground, like I saw Dr. Daniel Hodge this morning, meeting the people, speaking to the people, connecting with the people, and then you project that, you show that, so that those who were not there could see that there was something happening and they get an appreciation for it. But you have to feel the people.
Well,
if you don't talk to them, if you don't touch them, if you do not know where their homes are, if you do not know what their needs are, how are you going to represent them?
So you're saying that you want to remind all of us in politics that social media enhances relations that have been formed in face-to-face contact.
Yes, it is not supposed to replace, and in fact, I think you are preempting me a little bit, and probably you may cause me to go into my speech a little bit, because the theme for tomorrow's convention is a very important one, navigating challenges. And the challenges are great. As an opposition, certainly there are challenges that you would face that you would have to understand and to know how to swim through that tide in order to get you to the other side. And part of, from navigating these challenges to getting us ready for governance, meeting the people, knowing the people, understanding the psyche of the people that you represent, because no two constituencies, you don't find the same thing in two different constituencies. There are similarities, but perhaps what is of greatest concern in St. Thomas may not be what is of greatest concern in another constituency, but you can only know that if you understand your people, if you do your groundwork, if you organize your constituency group, if you understand your voters list, if you know what the people want. And you do not learn these things by just sitting on social media and sharing things. You learn these things by interacting with people, by strategizing, by planning, and really knowing who your supporters are.
Right.
Well, we got way ahead of ourselves, and we have not told the people, we haven't given you a chance to say who you are.
Oh my goodness.
And so tell us
Yes,
who
they only
you
have
are.
a name. So, as the name says, I am J.D. Ojapia. I am from the very beautiful island of St. Lucia. I am an attorney at law by profession, but most of my life has been in politics. I am a member, supporter of the St. Lucia Labour Party. My introduction to politics is through the St. Lucia Labour Party, but my involvement in politics did not start on the national level. It started on my constituency level. I got involved in the year 2006 when my now parliamentary rep, who is presently the Minister for Health, was looking to put a team together so that he can be one of the candidates to represent the St. Lucia Labour Party in the seat. So this is where I got involved. I got involved at the grassroots level, house to house, house to house. And probably I will say it again, house to house.
Repeat for us.
Because I think this is probably the most important form of campaigning. People may disagree, but I'm saying if you don't know who lives there and who lives there, and if you do not know how many votes are in this house, and you don't know who's turning 18, and you do not know who passed away, and you do not know how many persons are registered to vote, when you get that list just before elections, you will not know what is happening. You do not know if it's padded. You do not know if they're imported voters. You will be lost, right? So it is only through house to house, verifying who's there, knowing your voters. This is how you would be able
so that is where you
to
started.
overcome some of these challenges. And so I worked there. We lost that election, but because of the work that I had done in the constituency, on the platform as a speaker, when we lost the elections, who was our prime minister and then became leader of the opposition, Dr. Kenny Anthony, came to look for me to work with him as the opposition leader. So I've really seen all sides of the politics, being in government, being in opposition, and I'm hoping that through that experience I would be able to share and be able to really give some ideas that would be useful and meaningful to the NRP.
Okay.
And I suspect that at some point in your future, you'll be a candidate.
It is almost as if
Soon.
people expect it to be the natural path, but I just said to you that I'm an attorney at law. I am a young attorney at law. And so
That's an attorney-like answer.
you could say so, but in between all of the things. So I would have served as the secretary to the leader of the opposition, who was Dr. Kenny Anthony. When we went into government, I served as the press secretary to the prime minister, who was Dr. Anthony. When we lost the elections, I went across to study law. And so I spent 5 years studying law, and I became an attorney at law. I became an attorney at law in 2021. When I came back, I joined, Dr. Anthony is a lawyer by profession, so I joined his chambers to work as an attorney with him. And I continue to work in his chambers, but independently under my firm. So it's almost as if people see the alignment, they see the association, and it's...
So you're from Vieux-Fort?
They see the grooming.
You're from Vieux-Fort?
I was born in Labrie. My family is from Graceview Fort, so I live in Graceview Fort. So I'm a lady of the South, you could say that.
Yes. So
Yes.
that's the constituency. That's your constituency.
Well, I can say I have three. I was born in Labrie, and because of my nature and the involvement that I have in politics, the constituency I've done the most work in is not the constituency I vote in. It would be Dr. Anthony's constituency, because I worked as his press secretary. I worked as communications director for the party. In the last elections, I would have worked in terms of his strategy, but I vote in Vieux-Fort North, which is, it borders with Vieux-Fort South. And I am from Labrie, which also borders with Vieux-Fort South and Vieux-Fort North. So in that region there, let's just say that I'm a
Those three
St. Lucian.
constituencies might be fighting for you.
I don't know.
They may each one. I remember the political leader of the party, now Prime Minister.
Honorable Philip J. Pierre.
Philip Jean Pierre.
Yes,
He was
yes,
here
yes.
addressing our convention
Yes,
a
yes.
few years back. And I remember him saying that his constituency is 11,000. He had 11,000 voters in his constituency.
The constituencies are huge. And when we look at Nevis compared to St.
St. Lucia,
Lucia,
they're small.
because, Nevis
So
is
house
small.
to
but the
house should
issue-
be a lockdown then.
Could you repeat that?
So house to house campaigning should be a lockdown in Nevis.
To my mind, it is something that is quite achievable, and I would be surprised that there is anybody who's not doing it. Maybe because it's my own thinking and my own philosophy, but when I go around the island and I see how easy it is to get around, I know that there will be challenges. I know that it is not something you can do in one day, but you have 5 years. If you wait to do it 3 weeks before elections, or you wait to do it 2 months before elections, certainly it will feel like an impossible task. But if you approach it strategically, you divide your constituency into zones or into units, however you want to call it, and you work purposely towards a particular goal. And if you do that, and there is also the strategy of meeting people where they are. House to house does not mean that you need to go to every single house, but because you might go to a house and not meet someone there. But if you know your people, if you know that they are fishermen, you will be down by the bay like we were this morning. If you know that, so you meet the people where they are, but you connect them to the particular home in your constituency so that you know where to find them on election day. You know where to. So this is really what it is, meeting the people. You can meet them wherever they are, but it's to know the voter so that you are able to ensure that you do what is necessary to reach them and to encourage them to support you.
The comments are blowing up on this Facebook thing here. You have some people from St. Lucia who are watching.
Oh,
You told them you'll be on?
I think probably my family.
You know Sasha Charles?
Sasha Charles. The name does not.
Proud
ring
of
a-
you, JJP.
Oh well, once a person says JJP, which is my initials, then definitely you see that's a St. Lucian.
All right. Joseph Brooke wants to know whether all the women in St. Lucia are beautiful.
All the women in St. Lucia are beautiful, obviously.
I could have answered that. He didn't ask me.
You could tell him that he's welcome to visit, and so he can verify for himself. And one of the things I heard a lot about St. Lucia today, as I went around, people say, "Where are you from?" I said, "St. Lucia." It's like, "Oh my God, the people of St. Lucia are so warm and so beautiful." I went there some time ago, and I also met a St. Lucian family this morning as well. So people really do say that St. Lucia is very warm and the people are beautiful.
I've been there several times. The longest I've spent there was 3 weeks.
Oh,
The last time I went there was about 2017, 2018. I went on a workshop.
okay.
And I had a blast.
I can imagine.
We had a blast. I like going to the public market. I like going downtown to the fisherman's.
And you went to Grosley.
Of course.
I think everybody that I spoke to today mentioned Grosley
You have
Friday
to go
night.
to Grosley. You have to go to
Yes.
Grosley.
Ancillary is challenging,
Ancillary.
right?
Yes, I was explaining to, I think probably it was Cabo, I was telling him that ancillary is now only once a month, which is the last weekend of every month. But Grosley remains consistent every Friday night. Every Friday night.
I got drunk there.
Oh my goodness.
Shame to say.
We are not going to speak about the experience. We're not going to speak about it.
I love the fact. I love the fact that the streets are closed, and the people are not allowed to go out. And I love the fact that the streets are closed, and the people are not allowed to go out. And I love the fact that the streets are closed, and the people are not allowed to go out. And I love the fact that the streets are closed, and the people are not allowed to go out. And I love the fact that the streets are closed, and the people are not allowed to go out. And I love the fact that the streets are closed, and the people are not allowed to go out. And I love the fact that the streets are closed, and the people are not allowed to go out. And I love the fact that the streets are closed, and the people are not allowed to go out. And I love the fact that the streets are closed, and the people are not allowed to go out. And I love the fact that the streets are closed, and the people are not allowed to go out. And I love the fact that the streets are closed, and the people are not allowed to go out. And I love the fact that the streets are closed, and the people are not allowed to go out. And I love the fact that the stre and there's no traffic. There's full traffic.
Yes.
There are bars and restaurants on either
On
side of the
either
road.
side, yes.
And so you just move from one place to the next, and
Yes.
the people are so nice.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, it's beautiful people.
Yes. Thank you so much for
and
that.
Me and a partner of mine went there. We took a taxi there, and we were calling a taxi to get back to the hotel. He wouldn't answer. So a guy just saw us there. He said, "You guys in the lift?" We knew a name from Adam.
Wow.
And he took us home.
Wow.
It was beautiful.
Yes.
You know, and Marvin Handy.
Oh, this is my friend.
Okay, he's saying.
I thought I knew Nevis just by knowing Hanley because he speaks about Nevis. Yes.
He is a patriot, as they say.
Very
And he's saying, if you do not have time for the people, you do not belong in politics. Preach, Jadia.
Yeah, that's my philosophy. I've seen it time and time again. And there's no other way to do it. And if somebody else has done it another way and has been successful, I will say that there is something special about that person. There is something unique, and you don't just feel that because someone did it, you can do it. So you have to put in the work. Politics is hard work.
It's very hard work.
And if you're lazy, you don't belong in politics. But
Because
it's really hard work.
after the campaign, you have to work.
You have to continue to work. And the thing about it is it's a no days off type of job.
He was a minister of government.
And so certainly he understands my language.
He understands it, and I always admonish him because he has such a big soul, has a large heart. People saw it as a weakness, but his kindness got out so far ahead of him that people were less than appreciative. And now they're saying, we want him back.
Yeah, and if
Because
only we knew and so
if only we
on.
knew.
Yes,
Because you really find persons with the kind of empathy,
yes,
the love of people, the
Yes.
love of the job.
yes.
When he tells me stories about people coming to his house and he empties his fridge to make sure
Yes.
they eat, and he has to
Yes. That I think that is how you know who really has a heart for the people. Now, there are people who will take advantage of it. There are people who will use you, but you do not dwell on the few disingenuous ones.
That's right.
You have to focus. You have a voice, and you have been chosen for a reason. It is because there are 3,000, 4,000 people depending on you. They cannot access government but through you. They cannot get out of their circumstances and situations but through you. Would you allow the 10 people
That's
who
right.
say negative things about you, the 10 people who probably already have their bread buttered and figure out how they are going to go through life, would you allow them to distract you from your mission to uplift people and to serve people? No. And politics is so rough that you have to expect people to backbite you. You have to expect people to say the nastiest things about you. But what keeps you going is your love and commitment. The people who are depending on you will certainly keep you waking up every day and going into that job. Because most times the people who represent depend on us. They really have no other alternative.
Could you say something? I know as a young person, because very often in our community, young people, we have to do. They get they're not as enthusiastic sometimes about getting into politics, but share with them some of the values or benefits of being part of a process, because they make up most of the population, so they
Yes.
can't have other people making decisions for them.
Yes, certainly. Now, it is the same thing in St. Lucia. I can tell you that voter apathy is high among the youth, and a lot of people are just disinterested, and it is because they see the behavior of the politicians who we consider to be the elders. We expect them to do better and to know better. The other thing too is that a lot of young people have an instant gratification kind of mindset, where we believe that if we want something, we are to get it now. We do not necessarily have an appreciation for process. A lot of people you would find don't necessarily they don't do well in terms of teamwork and things of that sort. So you would understand why sometimes young people would probably just not have any interest or any faith in this team kind of effort called politics. But I think really for us, if we want the change, we have to get in and do it. Okay? I understand the society that I want. And if I see what is happening there does not favor me, or it is not pleasing to me as a young person, the easiest and best way to influence it is to get involved. Okay, you get involved in your constituency group, you find out who your representative is, you find out who the candidate is, and you go to them. You share your ideas, but to remain on the sidelines, make no contribution and criticize is not going to create the society that you want. You have to get involved, share your talent, share your ideas. You may even have to take charge. And so if in your constituency, for example, there is not a youth organization where the voice of the young people would be factored into decision making, you create one. You create the pressure groups. I did not get involved in politics just by getting up and putting on a red shirt. My first point of contact really was through a community organization where I worked for the betterment of my community, almost as if it was a voice of pressure. We need this, we need to do this, finding the representative, writing to the ministers and the ministries. And I was an advocate for my community before I was a member of the St. Lucia Labour Party or supporter of the St. Lucia Labour Party. If you love your country, if you want things to be better, you have a skill, you have a talent, the best thing to do is to share it and to get involved.
Very well said. The comments you made prior about commitment to the process and to politics and to community, I'm gonna cut it out and send it to my big sister, because she's saying, you need to come out from Nevis. You need to come back to the States.
It's hard to turn your back when you love your country, when you love your people, and you know that you have a contribution to make. And I know it is hard when you come from a small island where the opportunities are limited. It must be real love and patriotism. But one thing I can say as well is that you can serve your country from anywhere in the world. And you can make an impact from anywhere in the world. So you being in Nevis, your purpose and approach would be different, but it really does not stop her in the US from making her contribution to making this place great and to making it beautiful and to seeing how we are able to create opportunities for our young people, how we hold our government accountable, how you really and truly can participate in the political process from anywhere in the world. And that's the beautiful thing. That then is how you use technology to influence, how you use technology to communicate. There are different levels of participation, and there are different things that would be required from various groups. And I'm certain that we can create a party, we can create a process that fosters participation on each of these levels. One really does not replace the other.
All right. Anything else? Anybody's waiting for you?
I am happy to be here. I'm excited. I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow and to share on the theme. I think I have gotten a good sense in the short time that I've been here as to what some of the challenges are, what some of the great things that are happening are as well. Some of the issues are really no different to what is happening in St. Lucia. But if there is one thing I want to say, I'll speak directly to the young people, because I think the fact that you ask me this question, it means that perhaps we don't see as many young people, and probably too young women, being activists and getting involved. You can be the difference. You can transform your community, but you really must take that step to get involved. Attend the meetings, attend the activities. If you have a skill, if you have a talent, you can offer yourself so that you are able to make a difference. Not everybody can be a candidate, but certainly there is room for everyone to sit around the table to share ideas. You may not be a candidate, but you may actually contribute to the vision, to the plan for the development of your island. But that plan can only get into the manifesto, and it can only be featured if you come to the table and if you share it. On the other side, our leaders, whether they are candidates, whether they are executive members, our leaders must also be inviting and welcoming. You are the candidate, but you really do not know it all. You must listen to the views of the people who are around you. You must encourage ideas and participation from within your constituency, because there are things you don't see that they will see. There are things that you do not know that they would know. But when you encourage people to come to you, and when you go to people and you dialogue, this is where our ideas would come into this melting pot, and we can brainstorm and we can come up with wonderful initiatives and things that don't cost $1, that you really can do to mobilize and to transform your community.
I couldn't say it any better. Jadia, Jepia,
Yes.
I do thank you for sharing this brief moment with us.
Thank you.
I do not want to.
We're not taking anything out of tomorrow.
No, I don't want to.
Thank you. And I also want to get an opportunity to see some of the parts of the island.
Yes.
Because we know tomorrow is a convention and then I leave on Monday.
You're such a big wig. You can stay until.
No, I have clients who depend on me, who are expecting me to be back in the island on Monday so that we can get our work going. So,
Well, we'll see you. We both see you tomorrow. At the
We will be
convention.
there.
Thank
we'll
you.
most certainly. And thank
look
you very
forward.
much.
I look forward.
And I think most importantly, your comments for the young people, encouraging them to be part of it. That to me is critical.
Well, Lydia Challery,
oh, I know her.
she's saying, great job, JJ.
Oh.
You have a-
Thank you so much. So I want to special shout out and special mention to my St. Lucians who are following, who are online. I want to thank you for your support. I will tell you one thing. My St. Lucian people, they support me. Now, remember I told you about politics. It cuts both ways. Those who oppose you very forcefully. But those who love you and support you, they lift you so high that when the opposition pelts stones, it really can't reach you. So I really want to thank my supporters, the people who continue to encourage me. They give me strength because you get tired, but when you're tired, you have to keep going.
Marcella Edgar, you know her?
No, I know the last name though.
Marcella Edgar, they're from Oleon.
Oh, okay. So you know people in the Dennery area and so on. That's
I've
great.
been to St. Lucia several times to work with the Sufre Development Foundation.
Okay,
And the
okay.
AIDS Action Foundation,
Great.
Joan Didier. and those
Great.
people.
Yes. Wonderful.
He just want to show off.
Wonderful. Listen, you were talking about Brazilian getting drunk and doing all of that, and nobody was jealous.
I went to work
You understand?
on the ground.
Yes.
He's not going to tell you that when I went to St. Lucia and got drunk, he was the other person.
Oh, you were there. He's a good politician.
Exactly.
You know what? He's a very good politician
Yes,
because
so
he
what?
sat there unassuming. He didn't participate. I would never guess until you would have said. So I like that. We tell them what they need to know. I like that. I like that.
Well,
thank you so much, gentlemen. You
Lydia,
made it inviting.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure for
Thank
us
you.
to have you here.
And
Make sure you share your blessings with your leader.
I definitely will.
Yes, well.
Obviously, you know I would have had to get my leader's blessing to be here.
Oh, yes.
So,
Oh, yes.
and he shared with me that he had been here a few years prior as your guest
and
speaker
I
as
met
well.
him in St. Lucia too, and we had lunch
Yes,
and all of that.
yes,
and
quite a few. I know that the connection is deep and the connection is strong, and I really want to thank you for that because in the politics, you really need the strength of those who share your ideas and your vision. So that friendship between the parties, it really is important. There are resources that you would share.
Please
in
give
terms
my
of
regards to
human
Leo
resource.
Clark, the General
Our
Secretary.
General Secretary, yes, certainly will do so.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you, and a good afternoon to everyone who's on the platform as well, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very
so
much.
Welcome.
Hensley, could you escort her?
Someone is waiting for you?
Let us put our hands together for Papa Wheeler. I'm bringing in a passe. Bringing them to shout for me. I want them to roar for me. If you don't know, I want in you. But I bang them. They go ball foul. Talking about irregularities. They go be up and down balling. The patent don't pay come in.
All right. We are back with our regular programming. Time to throw some more blows. And so we're going to start off on Evans Amory International Airport redevelopment project. That's where we're going to start, or start back. We have about 25 minutes to get things done. Hope we can get through. But so we are talking about the Evans Amory International Airport redevelopment project, $130 million to be spent. And we all heard the Premier speak about now that they don't have all of the financing in place. So what they'll do is what you call phased financing or phased development. And they are going to start with the payout of property owners there adjacent to the airport. And that bill is approximately 30 million EC dollars. And the Premier has indicated, and Dr. Drew has confirmed, that the federal government will indeed be part of the financing package to make sure that those homeowners and property owners are paid out. $30 million payout, and then that'll be phase one. Phase two, and I'm putting these things in what I believe are sequential order. Phase two, based on what the Premier would have said also, is that the extension of the runway will be next, and the extension of the runway will cost $66.5 million. And he has not indicated where that financing is to come from, but he assured us at his last press conference that the money has been secured. So we don't know from who or from what institution he has secured $66.5 million to lengthen the airport. Okay? Phase three will be all the ancillary support, the fire station, the road realignment, the hangar, facilities, etc. That's another 12 million US or $33.1 million EC. He has not indicated where that money is going to come from, but he also did indicate at that press conference that Mr. Drahi, Mr. Patrick Drahi, the billionaire investor who wanted initially to finance the entire $130 million project, is still on board and will facilitate partial financing. He has not said which part of the financing Mr. Drahi will participate in. But he said he was assured just a day before the press conference last week that conversations were had with representatives of Mr. Drahi, and he's indicated his interest in staying on board. That is all we know so far. All right? So that is the airport phased development. Now, it sounds sketchy to me, I'll be honest. It sounds sketchy to me. Because we're going to end up with another Mondo track where things are half done and left abandoned for years, if ever to be reconvened. If you do not have the financing, why are you going to proceed? Why are you going to put us in such jeopardy? Because the money you're going to get from Dr. Drew is a loan. It's not a grant. It's a grant. If it was a grant, I said no problem, take it. But it's a loan. And by all statutes, a loan must be repaid. And by all common sense, that loan will be added on to our national debt, which is already past $550 million. The Premier said he is hoping by December, at his budget address, December 3rd, he could assure the people of Nevis of the financing, that he is in receipt of the money from Dr. Drew, and for the lengthening of the airstrip. So you're talking almost $100 million he's trying to secure between now and December 3rd. 30 million from Dr. Drew and 66 million from a source he has yet to indicate. We don't know who the source is. So, we are back to phase development on Nevis. We had the early pier phase. It took them years after the pier was built to get the terminal built. And look what they did. They built a house, and called it a terminal. At least you keep the rain off your heads. But it's nothing to write home about. And then we have the Mondo track, another phase that was supposed to be a one-time investment is now phased. The road from Cotton Ground to camps was to be a single effort. It was a phased effort. And all of the money they borrowed, $13 million, they still can't tell us what happened to it. Phased. I'm wondering whether these phases are deliberate to try to hide resources from the people. I don't know. But I hate this idea of phase developments. If you're coming to the people with a development project, come with a complete project. You have done your EIAs, you have done your engineering, you have done your design, you have done everything. And the financing is right there sitting for you. But don't come with this idea that you don't have to do it in phases because for some reason you can't find the resources. People are not banking on it to make back their money. I published on my Facebook post the projected income for year one for the airport. Under 1 million EC dollars they're expecting to make from a $130 million investment with a $12 million per year in operating cost. How can this make sense to anybody? How can this make sense? This is not bankable. And you wonder sometimes why the Premier can't approach any bank of substance to seek a loan for this. Because they'll laugh him out the bank. Your return on investment cannot pay for the lights. But yet, Dr. Drew, who is looking for a compatriot on Nevis, just in case he faces headwinds within his own Labour Party, he feels he feels he has to invest in Mark Brantley and his nonsense. He cannot find the money for fair share. He cannot find the agreement for fair share. He cannot find the formula for fair share. But he can find $30 million to lend to Brantley on a nonsense project. A project that has not been proven by data to be sustainable. You have to wonder sometimes about these two. I've said openly, I've said publicly, that Brantley needs to leave the government of Nevis and go sit down somewhere in Booby Island. Because he has proven time and time again, he has no capacity to run Nevis. None. He has been given so many opportunities to prove us wrong. And every time we think he's going to turn the corner, is one big flop after another flop after another flop. And so he seeks out small places to say, look, I brought, where he's Jack and the Beanstalk? He's Jack and the Beanstalk? He bringing beans? I'm telling you something. This guy has been in power since 2007. And you will think with time that he will get wisdom, that he'll get understanding. He seems to be getting worse the older he gets. Because we learn from our mistakes. We fall down, we get up, we brush off, and we move on, hoping not to fall again, preparing not to fall again. But he seems always to fall. He needs to go. He really needs to go. And so here we are. with a phased project. Birdman Libert said it best. Wisdom now sell a shop. Wisdom now sell a shop. Ooh, I tell you, wisdom really now sell a shop. Anyway, the big talk for today is MSR.
MSR means some other things, you know, when you're growing up, right?
MSR is actually two companies in one. And it's called MSR Group of Companies. There are two entities. MSR Media SKN Limited and MSR Hotel and Company Limited. MSR Hotels and Company Limited. Let's take this call. Good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir.
I am here listening, right? I have a grave concern. I'm wondering if divisions are paying, especially the taxpayers of this country, are paying attention to the amount of debt that this small island of Nevis is undergoing because of lack of leadership. We are under tremendous strain in Nevis. And when I listen to certain comments that you all are making, it makes me wonder if our Nevisians are paying attention to the situation at hand at the moment. Let's take the airport. If you're doing a project and you have to be doing the project by phases, the question is, and you're not certain how the money is, how you're going to generate funds for the project, why not wait until you get all the finances together and do the project? I can't understand what is really happening because Nevis is in so much debt already. The utility buildings, the government utility buildings are in shambles. You speak earlier about the courthouse. Maybe sooner, very soon, they might have to relocate the high court. All of these are expenses that the taxpayers of Nevis will have to go. And I always talk about this development from the developer who had intended to build a hotel in the Windward area. And all of these are taxes that we, of the people of Nevis, have to be paying. And the bad thing about it is that people should know is that the politicians make these mistakes that the taxpayers of the country have to be paying for. And we need to realize that. People need to look at that situation. Nevis is in a tight situation. And to my opinion, it looks like no way out right now. There's no way out because no matter what your media try to share with them, they're not some of the most important things. They don't take them on. They criticize. They're not learning, as you just said a while ago. I mean, Henry said, which I spoke some years ago back, that since you have so much problem with the airport situation, why not relocate the airport? Why not do a feasibility study and Indian Carton and see if you could, get the hotel, get the airport, relocate the airport down there. You have lands down there available, you're not going to disturb nobody. That's government land. The other thing that we have to do studies and to make sure that the country runs properly. Because when these guys they get all this in need, it's going to be in problem. Serious problem. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, sir, for the call. We were talking
Carla
about.
is worried, Kel.
Yeah, he sounds worried, of course.
Very worried about the
should be.
financial. And he should be.
So we were talking about the MSR group of companies. Two of them, MSR Media, SKN Limited, MSR Hotels and Company Limited. And both of those companies,
Were incorporated.
not surprising, were incorporated in the chambers of Daniel Brantley and Associates right there at the Juris Building in Charlestown. And that address continues to be the registered address for MSR. Is coincidence, Hensley?
Coincidence? No, all I know is an incident. Co? The only co in that is that is two different entities coming together.
All right. On November 13, 2023, that's last year, November, the federal cabinet, approved MSR as a public benefactor. Let's see who this is. Good afternoon, on target.
Yeah, good afternoon to you fellas, man. How you doing, man?
I'm all right.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, great contribution by the caller there, man. You know, me personally, looking in from outside here, situation in Nevis especially, on the whole, the Federation of St. Nevis right now on the whole, got a dark cloud hanging over it with this MSR media saga. This MSR media thing is not going to go away no time soon. This is social media time. Whether the Prime Minister feels himself that they can hide the transparency and stuff like that, it's going to come out. What I'm seeing on the Nevis side right now is a financial issue. The projects are not getting completed. The money has been coming over and the money has been mismanaged. Now, the Premier is looking to the Prime Minister to bail him out. Or according to the caller just before me, indeed, most of these monies that's being mismanaged is the people's money. When the MSR guy came into Nevis, they took up the Nevis people's money out of the treasury and supported this guy financially. This man allegedly came into Sinkis and Nevis book. Now he has a podcast. He owns the former OTI in Sinkis. And the man said on a podcast just this week, he has a worldwide media conglomerate in many cities across the world. I counted 11 cities that he mentioned in that podcast. You know what I mean? The people of Sinkis, you're still there, right?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, the people of Sinkis and Nevis, you guys are sleeping. You guys are sleeping. Somebody could come there and move with Sinkis and Nevis while you are sleeping, and nobody will know at all. Nobody's gonna know, man. You all sleeping. We need to take some buckets of waters and toss it over y'all and wake y'all up, man. You guys are sleeping. It don't seem like they have any checks and balances up in operation in the Federation of Sinkis and Nevis at all. And it's very disappointing to see how yeah, you're still there, right?
I'm listening.
Yeah, it's very disappointing to see how our leaders continually keep selling us out and destroying our money. The money from the CBI, from the outset, they should have some type of framework in place so that dividends could be paid out of that to the citizens. Because in foreign countries that have all of those with natural resources, we don't have that in Nevis like that and Sinkis like that. But that CBI program is as if like was money coming in from a natural resource. So that money, they should have a framework in place so that they can distribute a dividends, 1 or 2 dividends every year to the citizens, along with reinvesting that money into the country. Now, after the fact that they done collected all this money and done vandalized this money, they are coming now and trying to squeeze the people like the people is the one that squandered that money off.
Well,
You weren't the one that squandered that money off.
well, caller,
But
go ahead, please.
my question, yeah, let me just say one more thing. How are we now going to get from under this dark cloud to pull from out of this saga and progress forward? Because during the last administration, we heard so much talk about scandals and stuff like that. And then yet still now, currently right now, is the biggest scandal I ever heard about St. Kitts and Nevis history. So where are our politicians taking us, man?
Okay.
And I listen if you had a question. You had a question?
No, go ahead, please. I'm finished. Yeah.
No, I'm finished by my side, really.
Yeah,
That's all really wanted
I
to
will
say.
speak more on the this thing because MSR was not next on the list.
Okay, great. Okay,
All right.
thanks a lot, man. You guys have a good day.
You too.
Thank
Okay,
you so
bye.
much. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I was saying in November of 2023, November 13, 2023, the cabinet of our Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, would have given approval for MSR to receive what they call the public benefactors benefactor. It's called the approved public benefactors. This is part of the CIU, the Citizenship Investment Unit program, to attract investors. You remember they had the hurricane relief, hurricane, whatever it is. You had so many what we call special purpose vehicles under the CIU. This is just one of them, under which you can get financing. All right? So this one is called the public benefactors, where you have to show that you are doing a public good, that your company will develop an industry, that you will finance the construction of a real estate development project on state land, or if you do it on private land, to transfer it to state. Bring some substantial benefit to the people of SKN. So there are criteria. There are 4 criteria to get this thing done. Public benefactors option, or public benefits option. So MSR qualified, the first ever, and the first to qualify under this new dispensation of the CIU. This is a brand new dispensation, the public benefits option, brand new. All right? So MSR was the first recipient of this. This is what MSR got. Let me read to you carefully. MSR hotels, they were awarded 300 public benefit units. These are equivalent to shares. All right? They're called public benefit units. It's a fancy name to mean shares. So MSR Hotels was given 300 shares at $175,000 US each. All right? That's the first one. That's equivalent to about 142 million EC dollars. They were given that by Dr. Drew and his government. 300 shares, total EC value, $142 million. MSR Media was given 3 sets of shares. MSR Media, 45 public benefits unit or 45 shares for each of the 6 movies produced in Nevis in 2021 and in 2022 at US $175,000 each. EC value, 47.3 million EC dollars. So you are giving a man who has already spent his money to do the movies on Nevis, or I should say, spent Nevis money to develop, to do these 6 movies on Nevis. You are now compensating him again by giving him 45 shares worth $47.3 million. How did they get these things work out? He didn't spend $47.3 million on those 6 movies. He didn't. The second MSR Media allocation, 45 shares for each of the 7 movies to be produced in 2024. So they ain't produced none yet. 45 public benefits unit for each of the 7 movies to be produced in 2024 at US $175,000 each, or $55.13 million. It goes further. MSR Media, 20 shares at US $175,000 for each of the 8 TV episodes to be produced in 2024.
How many shares? 25?
20 shares at US 175 for each of the 8 TV episodes to be produced in 2024. When you add up all of these shares, the value of all these shares between MSR Hotels and MSR Media, the grand total $494 million.
What is yours?
Easy.
$494.
$494.16 million. Easy.
300 units at 175.
300 units at $175,000 US. That comes out to $142 million.
No. You should get that. Let me see.
52,500,000 US.
2.5 million there.
Yeah,
US,
that's US.
US, yes. Oh,
Yes.
Yes.
That's 142 million.
Yes.
Right? So the grand total in EC
That's close to $500 million.
is $494.16 million.
Call that $500 million.
$500 million.
Call that $500 million with all the other little things that are gone in there. $500 million.
Was given to a big belly white man. Given to a big belly white man, a convicted fraudster, by our government. You understand what's happening? It's almost like monopoly money. A man came here with nothing. Our premier gave him the treasury from Nevis. $10 million for accommodation. Millions more in concessions. That not sweet him enough. He go on St. Kitts to get even more sugar cake. More honey. And they give him $494.16 million. Good afternoon, you're on target.
But then you realize that he not calling him. He attacking everybody else, but he not calling the youngster name. Realize?
Okay then.
Dog and yam dog in the city. Can't you see? Dog will yam dog in the cities. I could tell you in a daily. And I want you to watch yourself and protect yourself because you and Patches is a big threat to them. And we're watching them, because the public go in and what's going on and what they intend to do. So keep your eyes out because they don't like people who teaching the poor people. Once you're bringing it to the poor people, they will come at you. So take care of yourself. We watching.
All right, brother. Thank you.
You take care.
There are developers on Nevis. I can't speak to developers on St. Kitts. But I know that there are developers in Nevis who were and remain more qualified to have received the public benefits option. Year after year they're applying. And not even the courtesy of a response. Not even the courtesy of saying, you need to cross that T and that I before we can consider you. But A big belly white man come here, convicted of fraud. I don't know what attract them more, he big belly or because he white. Or maybe both. And he is able to convince the CIU to grant him $500 million in shares. He was able to convince the Premier of Nevis to give him $10 million up front and concessions can't done. A big belly white man who went to jail for fraud. And he was coddled and shown the red carpet because what? He promised to create some jobs in the movie industry. He promised to add to the curriculum at CFB, a filmmaking curriculum for CFB. He promised movies 4 per year to put St. Kitts and Nevis on the map. I thought we were discovered already. I didn't know we need to be rediscovered. I thought the mere fact that 1 million cruise ship passengers come here, we were discovered. I thought.
But maybe not by him. Maybe not by him, Kel. What is important here is that we should we have now then, Kel, to level the playing field. We have to level the playing field.
How do you level the playing field, Hensley, when everything is being controlled from St. Kitts? How do you level the playing field? How do you get the Nevisian developers who are crying foul that they're being treated less than? How do you level the playing field when the CIU is not returning your calls, not responding to your messages? How do you? Let's take this call. Good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What are you make really money in the business? You know, think it and Nevis developers, they can't get any kind of money to buy it. You know that. I will a company. You know, all same people to say that when you look old boy company, a company old boy. So that's how we go. So we know that we like. All that we like for citizen and division like for that we like have we own. And that's the problem. So you put up all the money where they want to spend up and down because they're going to let it. All right.
Thank you. This is more serious than that. This is an indictment of our leadership. That we put more homage, more importance on persons who would come here to invest using our money, mine. Begging our money to invest in our country. But locals who are here, who have had the same opportunity to study abroad, study the different disciplines, they have a hard time to convince our government that they are worthy.
But something is missing. This is a new trend. For instance, when the Four Seasons Hotel came here, they brought their money and they were facilitated by the government to go look for their own land, buy their land, develop their thing. No development has come to Nevis like that, but they brought their money. All of a sudden now, Kelly, it looked like to me like fellas don't work with any money now, no?
They don't have to.
They don't have to? But I'm just saying there is a major difference because Four Seasons came $60 million. Dumes and Tobishima and all of them together, and Four Seasons cannot work out the maths. They couldn't go ask the Nevis Island administration in 1989 to go give them money. We had no money to give them. And they understood that what we were doing was to create for them. To me, I always argue, Kel, and you will be familiar with this. Nevis must operate like a girl that look good. We are a girl that look good.
Well,
We
let
got
me-
good potential.
let me-
So you don't give away your patrimony. You don't just look at it and say no. Look at how we craft the thing there before. We craft an arrangement with Four Seasons. We look, all you spend all your money. We can facilitate you with the concessions and so on and so on. And we get 800 people to work there regularly without incurring 10 cents scale.
My thing is this. Dr. Drew, and let's take this call. Good afternoon, on target.
Hensley, I don't see this thing happening since Matalan reclaimed the land down here. We allow callous politicians to just give Indians and white people the land and looking for the future. I think it's Nevis in terms of using CBI coming through to build these buildings and we
You cut off.
Call dropped out.
No, there is an observation that just before you go, there is an observation in St. Kitts and Nevis that we have made billions in the CBI, but that money has not redounded to the benefit of the people of the country.
Let me ask you this.
And you keep giving it away.
Let me ask you this. We are now in so much debt for the hospital, for geothermal, for the airport, whatever else. We're in debt. Serious debt.
Yes.
Has any government, has anybody in the NIA sought to incorporate those projects under a CBI banner to get financing?
No.
Has
No.
the government of Nevis,
No.
the premier of Nevis, who sits as a leader of the opposition, who is in bed with Dr. Drew day in and day out, has he approached Dr. Drew and said, listen, we in Nevis and you and St. Kitts are saying geothermal energy is important. We know there's a budget gap, a financing gap between what CDB is proposing to give and what we need to effectively develop the resource. Can't we do a special
SPV. Yes, of course.
to get the requisite financing for this, what all in term a monumental development? Why is it that we are struggling to find resources to develop geothermal energy when MSR can come in here and be allowed $494 million in shares? Why are we saying that $130 million is too much for the airport? But we are allowing MSR to get $494 million from us. Why are we saying there's no money for the hospital and no money to complete the Mondo track? We don't have any money to do a deep water pier. We don't have any money to build a boat ramp for the fishers. But we have $496 million to give this big belly white man. How can this make sense to anybody?
No. And then also, Kel, the premier was also in the government for 7 years, which means that he has no interest in Nevis. The premier has no interest in Nevis. He was sitting in, I read the IMF report and the CBI and so on and so on. And they made a ton of money during that period, that 7-year period with Harris. They made a ton of money before. We have made money. But my concern is that there have been people who have gotten rich out of the CBI, Kel.
Filthy rich.
Out of the CBI, yet the hospital not finished. And, of course, the southern side of Nevis, which needs to develop with a modern road and all of the hotels and everything, has been left unattended.
Before I forget, Hensley, let me get in this notice here because Lawson asked me to do it. Can you please announce after your show that we will be bringing the test match West Indies versus Bangladesh Day 2. So those of you who are aficionados and know Ivor Henry is probably going to be staying on. We'll be bringing you the match, the play-by-play match between West Indies and Bangladesh, ball by ball commentary from right here on 20 Vision Radio. Thank you. Sorry, Hensley.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, Kel. So here we have in Nevis, the 2015, the government changes, the CBI is rolling in billions. And now what we are having is debt. Portion of debt. The whole of the southern side of Nevis remains unattended. No major development, and we are going into debt. And you're asking, how come the Premier doesn't go and put a special purpose vehicle to the Prime Minister and say, look, we are developing geothermal and so on. I am saying that should be done. But also, this man sit down there for 7 years with Harris. And they made billions. The CBI money made billions. And we now have no money. Yeah? So, it tells me, Kel, there is something missing in the politicians in charge in the government in Nevis. There is that sense of patriotism, pride, and interest.
Hensley, they found millions to give to Kitchen Hill.
Of course.
They found millions to get to Christopher
Harbour, yes.
And other developments and circuits. Yes. But they have no money for geothermal.
No, money has to be there for geothermal. Geothermal will make the difference between for St. Kitts and Nevis, You
can't tell me. Hensley.
No, but geothermal...
I know that we're on the same page with that. Okay. What I'm saying to you is this. How seriously we are about a strategic vision for development when Nevis is being left in the dust. Left in the dust to beg. Why is it we're having a conversation about financing for the airport and for the hospital when the Prime Minister is talking about a smart hospital costs 50 million US? Why? What happened to us here in Nevis? Well, what is wrong with us here in Nevis? It is clear to me that the same old development strategy of focusing on St. Kitts remains in effect. And a lot of people don't let to hear it. But I grew up in a time where everything old came to Nevis.
Oh, yeah.
And everything new stayed in St. Kitts. And that is where we are right now, in my opinion. And it's unfair to the people of Nevis. And if I hear one more time that a child in Gingerland has the same rights as a child in Sadlers, I will puke. If I hear it one more time that a child in Bastia and a child in Charlestown have the same opportunity, they don't. They don't. Because this government here in Nevis is a bunch of kunumono who is afraid to stand up to the government in St. Kitts and demand what is theirs.
Okay. Remember the money accrued from passport which marks St. Kitts and Nevis. So that, but Kelly, you know what is a classic failure as well? As I might ask, you see anywhere any effort by the government to say, boy, let me do something. Let me talk to Dr. Drew about this. You see anything anywhere?
I don't think we need to talk to Dr. Drew anymore. I think we need to put this thing before the court to adjudicate, because there seems to be no energy by the Prime Minister to do what is right and fair by the Nevis people. The Premier of Nevis will not do it. I don't know what else to say.
The Premier of Nevis will not move the effort to get something done in Nevis. So what is he here for?
I do apologize to some of the listeners who are concerned about my anger. I assure you I'm fine. But there are some things that just that's pull my chain. And when you're out there thinking that you are a patriot, and when you work so hard to make sure that Nevis gets whatever it deserves to get, and you see the detractors, you see the deliberateness at which persons are trying to keep you down, keep this country down, aided and abetted by our own leaders here on Nevis, aided and abetted by a dysfunctional government, unconcerned about the fair share and the other issues.
He said he was in the yard. He was.
I don't care what the hell he was.
He said he was in the yard.
He need to go home.
Exactly.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Daly and Brother Hensley.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm listening to the program here. Very, very interesting program. We had 3 ministers of government who was a part of the federal government. The Minister for Agriculture at the time in the Federal Assembly was Alexis Jeffords. The fishermen in Gate Bay have pier, boat ramp, and everything developed for them. Gate Bay.
In Gate Bay?
All road.
Oh, Jesus.
Past here had years already. And I want to know what Mark Bradley, Eric Evelyn, and Alexis Jeffords has to say to themselves. Those boys went to sink it and didn't even bring back a fish hook to leave it.
Not even a fish hook.
Right. Not even a fish hook. A fisherman in Nevis could say they benefited from these fellas being in the federal government. It pains me to see that a permanent secretary in Bastia, in St. Kitts, could say that he wants to do something for the fishermen in Old Road, Gate Bay, and whatever area in St. Kitts. But the minister for the federal agricultural development didn't bring back a fish hook to Nevis. Boy, it's painful. Continue to preach his sermon. Don't get weary. Listen to what I'm saying here. For now, you guys might think that what you all are saying has been falling on deaf ears. Take it from me. People in Nevis is listening, and they're eagerly awaiting the opportunity to correct wrong and make it right. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so that concludes our program.
That's a good point on which to conclude.
Of course,
It's a
excellent
very good
point.
Very good point.
And he's a fisher, so he
He's a
should know.
fisherman, and he's a man who works 28 hours a day, they tell me. The last time we checked.
Yeah. All right, so thank you all for staying the course. I know we had a long day today, and we always seem to run over time on a Saturday for some reason.
No, we had to accommodate our guest.
Even when we don't have guests.
No, I'm offering an excuse. I'm just offering an excuse or an explanation.
Explanation. All right. Okay.
As Limo would say, the exigencies of the situation.
Okay then. All right, folks.
All right.
We are done for today. See you next Saturday we're off.
Oh, yeah.
We have the funeral of our dear brother Hastings. Yes. And so we'll be off for the day and to pay our respects to him, our fallen soldier. And so bear with us. We will be back the following week. And of course, this Thursday coming, we have Tell Me. All right?
And tomorrow is convention.
And tomorrow is convention.
Everybody come.
And Tuesday, my daughter is graduating from high school. So I'll be attending that. So I have a busy week.
Yeah, your daughter was born in November like me.
Yes.
Same sign?
Yes.
Okay.
But
she will do French and Spanish and science. She'll do a combination.
All right, folks. So see you next week, Saturday. Next week, the 2 weeks Saturday. God bless. We'll be back again. See ya.
Graduation is Tuesday? Okay. All right, later.
Yeah.